a lot of people end up telling me, so my vocal's going to sound better, Don, right, when you get auto-tune on it. And I kind of laugh because auto-tune is a word that just kind of floats around a little too easily these days. Yes, I use auto-tune, but for very few things. There are some things that it works great on, but for doing a lead vocal, we have to manually tune the vocals. Even if it's a great singer, I have a project here that I think the singer is really great. Actually, she sings in tune very well. But even with that, there are going to be a number of improvements that can be made by tuning, but not with auto-tune. So I'm going to just give you an example of how I do it. Yeah, you could be your own judge and see what you think. I mean, some of this could fly without any tuning, but you're going to hear that just some little minor improvements go a long way. So anyway, I play a little bit at the beginning of this. I'm just going to start right from the first verse and probably start just tuning right as we go.
Just a little bit slower and down your street, and I go back to the places you used to take me.
All right, so, she did an okay job on this first verse here. If you notice that just a lot of the entrances of these notes she didn't quite nail. So that's the first thing I'm going to work on here. These little blocks here just kind of represent the actual pitch. You can see there's a keyboard over here. You can see the actual names of the notes. Usually I'll just do a little phrase at a time, take a listen to it. Her entrance right there is a little bit flat, and you can actually even see it by this little line here. It starts to drift underneath the F sharp. The song's in the key of F sharp. So we're just going to move that up a little bit and see what that sounds like. It's already a little bit better. I think I'd probably do a little less of the scoop. I like the scoop, but it's a little too much. I'm going to move that up a little bit. Middle of the note moves around a little bit, so we can actually straighten that out a little bit too. Let's listen now.
I try just a little bit slower.
Yeah, that little turn right there isn't bad, but I think I might raise it up just a little bit.
It's slower.
And she doesn't quite hit the note when she comes down to that D flat there, so I'm going to just straighten that out.
It's slower and it's slower and down your street.
And so much of this is subject to just taste too. Yeah, down your street. It's just ever so slightly flat. I kind of like it because it's got a little bit of just angst to it. And sometimes you have to think about that because there are certain times when flat is passion, you go too flat and it's ouch. This is a case where I'd probably just move it just a tiny little bit.
And down your street.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
And I go back.
Whoop, then we have an attack of a note right there that she hit too high. So we're going to bring that down.
And I go back. I go back.
A little flat towards the end of that note. Maybe not quite that much.
And I go back to the the place.
There's a little bit flat on that note.
To the places you used to take me.
And so you can kind of see how the vibratos represented here. It just breaks up the blocks here. You can kind of see where it starts to, it's not super even in her vibrato. I can actually connect these blocks here together and, try to smooth out that vibrato a little bit. If I, on Digital Perform is actually the program that I'm using here. I kind of should have started with that right away, but it's one of the only programs that you can actually do this kind of pitch correction right within the track. I think there's a couple others like Logic and some others that have this kind of pitch correction ability. Most people, I think commercial world, are using Melodyne, which I think is brilliant. But there is an offset processing, not offset, what's the word I'm looking for? Offline processing that has to be done before you can actually go in. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. I love the fact with Digital Performer, I can be, someone can actually be recording in a session and I can make a change. They might sing something slightly flat, slightly sharp, and they say, let's listen to it back. I think sing it slightly sharp or flat, and I actually have already tuned it just before the playback. So they're like, oh, I guess I didn't. And yeah, not many programs allow you to do that. So Digital Performer does. So I'm actually just straightening out this vibrato at the end of the note here. You can see as I squeeze that line together. If I did it all the way, it would actually become very robotic. Like I can give you an idea what this is going to sound like. If I go robotic, this is not going to sound great. So it took out a vibrato, made it a little unnatural. I didn't mind too much of what it kind of ended up with. It was just a little bit too straight for me. So maybe straighten it out a little bit.
You used to take me.
I like that. Sounds pretty natural there.
And I sit at the spot.
Obviously, the word sit was flat. You can see that was quite a bit below that E flat there.
And I sit at the spot where you first asked me out.
Me. The me was sharp.
Me out. And then I drive down the streets.
All right, and some people might ask, well, okay, so why not auto-tune? Why can't you throw auto-tune on this? You could. You know what? Let me just give you an example of that. I actually have it already in the template on this track, but it's turned off. So here's what happens. If you turn auto-tune on, I already know that the song is in F sharp, so I've kind of set the key, and she pretty much stays in the key of F sharp throughout the whole song. This is your retune speed. For example, tuning it at 100%, you end up getting, what we all know is the share effect. Sounds like this.
And then I drive down the streets where we would fall.
And that's kind of cool. I mean, there might be a case where you want to do that. This is not one of those songs. You can retune with a little bit slower speed. It would sound something like. And it starts to sound a little bit more natural. You can even back it off even more, use some humanizing to it. But you just don't get the attention to detail. And it also does begin to sound a little artificial. I just kind of prefer manually tuning. And I think most people in the end, when they hear it tuned manually, notice the difference.
And I cry.
All right, little sharp, Little flat.
And I cry and I scream out for you.
I'm going to keep going through the tune here. There's probably a few things that if I was getting a little pickier, I'd hit. But there's some other things later in the tune I want to show you guys.
I throw my hands in the air, stop the car right there, confused.
Like that note right there kind of moves around. So I can break this up into a couple different notes and kind of decide how much is that going to move. Like the beginning of that, I'll raise up a little higher, the end of it, raise down a little bit. Again, still keeping the human factor to it. So that little ooh right there, again, you put auto-tune on that, it's going to start sounding a little artificial. This still sounds natural. I just love that.
Where'd you go? And why'd you leave me? I have to know, 'cause this isn't easy. 'Cause this isn't easy. And how am I completely broke?
Completely. Yeah, she might have had a little bit too much vibrato, just the first part of that word. Completely. It's natural, but
Completely.
yeah, see the word is she's going to say she's completely broken, right?
Completely broken.
So again, there's a little bit of a, decision that has to be made. Musically, I think we want to leave a little about that in there.
Completely.
I mean, I could straighten it out completely. It's going to sound like this.
Completely
Yeah, and it starts to sound artificial because it's really changed it quite a bit. So just go a little bit.
broken. Completely broken.
Bro, just a little flat there.
Completely broken. And you're just broken. And you're
Nice little echo there.
broken. And you're just fine.
Just a little flat there.
And you're just fine. We have
Fine.
just fine.
Yeah, when she came back up to the A flat, she was sharp. All right, so every once in a while you're going to get stuff like this. You might get little pitches that peak, that don't smoothly transition from one note to the next. And there is a tool that we can use to actually draw some of these in, a pencil tool, which looks like a pencil. And you could do something like that, and it just smooths it out. Watch this.
You're just fine. We
And it's smooth as butter.
just fine. We haven't eaten.
We have it flat. I also often reference using my keyboard here too. Sometimes you might want to keep something a little bit flat or sharp. Sometimes you want it to be spot on, and you can't always trust the visual. What am I saying? I don't really trust the visual at all. You got to use your ears. So I find that a lot of times if I reference the keyboard, I end up doing a little bit better job. I have a good relative pitch, but I do not have perfect pitch, so.
Fine, we haven't even.
She went a little sharp there.
We haven't even spoken, and I tried, and I tried, and I tried to forget, and I tried to erase.
And there's that D flat, a little flat. I love these little turns. They're great turns, but she tends to go a little flat on them. You kind of see those last two that I didn't fix. These two sound great. And it gets flatter and flatter.
But I take this drive, and it all comes back to me. Things get around me. Things get around faster than you thought they would. But and you thought they would.
Sounds like she's getting a little bit warmed up as more instruments come in. Starting to smooth out a bit here.
Faster than you thought they would. But I believed you. You sit down and down, and I see the marks left on your neck, and I know it's true. How can eyes like yours hold so much more than
You
this?
see some of this stuff I'm actually doing as it's going by. I guess in those cases, that's where I am trusting the visual, because I know if I'm just moving a little bit, I know what I heard, kind of in real time. I'm just kind of going through and saying, oh, that was slightly flat, that was slightly sharp. I can kind of trust the visual to put those in place. But that's also sometimes if I'm just in a hurry, just trying to get through, to get something, done by a deadline. Otherwise, I do a fair amount of just taking a phrase at a time. Like I might loop a section and just do it that way.
Like you.
Give you an example. So I'm going to take this phrase right here. Sometimes hearing it a couple times, you might hear something a little different the second time you hear it.
Yours hold so much more than eyes like yours hold so much more than eyes like yours hold so much more.
It's actually good. I don't think I changed anything there, but it gives you an idea.
More than they'll tell.
And she definitely went sharp there.
Then they'll tell. How can the one I love be so?
Interesting thing is, sometimes, and this is one of those cases, a singer can give you a little yodel in their note, and you almost think that you're hearing auto-tune because it's going to give you that really quick retuning effect. Give you an example.
The one I love be so.
So that love in the track, it sounded a little bit like a yodel
And the one I love be so.
because it just really comes down fast. She's just really accurate with that. I'm going to keep that because I don't think it sounds too unnatural, but I've definitely been tricked before thinking, oh, there's autotune on there, and then it's the human voice. And quite often that happens with good singers. So.
How can the one I love be so far gone? Be so far gone.
That little bend, a little too much.
Be so far gone.
Gone. Yeah. Should probably get down to that E flat.
Far gone with someone.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a waver here at the beginning of this note here. I'm just going to straighten that out.
With someone else. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? And why?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where I put it in the block and then it just started to sound a little sharp towards the end. So I might take and break it up a couple times.
Where'd you go? And why do you leave me? I have to know. 'Cause this isn't easy. Isn't easy. And how am I? And how am I? How am I completely broken? And you're just fine. Broken. And broken. And you're just fine. We haven't even spoken. We haven't even spoken. And I tried to forget. And I tried
Is that another one of those little yodels?
to forget.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds great though. I'm keeping it.
To forget. And I try to erase.
The same flip, she tends to just land those a little flat.
But the thought of it, but the thought of
Yeah, this is another one of those. Do I like that little waver in there or not? If I straighten it out too much.
but the thought
Actually, that wasn't bad. Maybe I'll just take away the first part of that waver.
but the thought of
No, I'm getting kind of microscopic here.
but the thought of you with someone new makes me say
It's just riding a little bit flat. Let's say that again.
Tears are dry.
Tears are... Another one of those waivers.
All my tears are dry. And when I open up, I'll find. Open up, I'll find real love.
Ooh, that one's a little slippery.
Find real love.
I think she just took too long to slide back down.
Real love that real love that doesn't die. Love that doesn't. Love that doesn't well, time has passed, and I'm
And flat.
and I'm done grieving. All wounds are healed, and this is getting easy. Getting easy, and I'm not broken.
So there are times that I've been requested to change a melody note even after the performance is finished. Sometimes the mix is almost finished and someone wants to change a note. It's totally possible to do that. Digital Performer actually does an amazing job of being able to, I mean, within reason. We're not going to change something, up or down like a fifth or a sixth or something like that without anybody being able to detect it. But
It's getting easy, and
but if she wanted to hit this note instead, if she wanted to hit an A flat instead of a G flat here or something, like for example, I'll just do that so you can hear it.
getting easy, and
And again, that's just something that's just not going to be detected as a digital change. It really sounded natural. Now, whether that was the best musical choice, maybe not. Maybe something like this might be better.
easy, and I'm
And we just changed the melody.
just getting easy, and I'm not.
And nobody would ever know that I just did that. Of course, she'll know, so I'm going to undo that.
Easy, and I'm not broken. And I'm not broken. Yeah, I'm alright. We still haven't spoken, and that's just fine. Oh, the day I never thought would come is here.
Yeah, she got those that time. Look at that.
Oh, I'm back to me, or just a memory that I don't feel.
All right, and that's the end of her vocal performance. So I will go back because obviously I was just stopping so many times and you couldn't really get a sense of the flow of the tune or anything like that. But I think you get an idea that manual tuning is definitely the way to go. So guys, no more, oh, they're just using auto tune. Stop. It's not auto tune. All right, there are things, like I said, that we do use auto tune for. Use it a lot on background vocals, long sustained notes that really helps when you're having to tune like 24 background vocal tracks all at once. I'm not going to do this kind of finesse to every single one of those background vocals. I'll be here all week. And so autotune can help in some circumstances with that. Best to get the singers to sing in tune. I mean, that's always the best mantra. But okay, so there you go. Hope you learned a little something about autotune versus manual tune. And I will play this from the beginning. Also, I'm going to just keep the tuning window open so you can kind of see anything that was turned to red. That's something that I actually manually adjusted. If it's blue, little squiggles in blue, there was no adjustment made on those. There's some manual automation. That's what these lines are in the background, just for volume automation going on. This is definitely not a final mix, but anyway, hope you like it.
I drive just a little bit slower and down your street. And I go back to the places you used to take me. And I sit at the spot where you first asked me out. And then I drive down the streets where we would fool around. you go? And why do you leave me? I have to know, 'cause this isn't easy. And how am I completely broken and you're just fine? We haven't even spoken, and I try to forget, and I try to erase. But the thought of you with someone new makes me insane. I wanna close my eyes till the months go by, when all my tears are dry. And when I open up, I'll find real love that doesn't die. Well, time has passed, and I'm done grieving. All wounds are healed, and this is getting easy. And I'm not broken, yeah, I'm alright. We still haven't spoken, and that's just fine. Oh, the day I never thought would come is here. Oh, I'm back to me, or just a memory that I don't feel.
And always save.